Hey everyone, welcome to Dave's Bonsai. On today's episode, some ficus cuttings are getting their own pots. It was about July of last year that the MBS had another one of its workshops that I got to help at. And so I always collect some cuttings from the trees. And in the summertime, in July, we're working on the tropical trees. So I grabbed some cuttings. Now, I'm still trying to connect with the MBS member who ran the workshop last year and ask him which tree that I put into these pots. And so I was thinking it was the Melina or the Premna because we've ordered them before from the nursery we get our bonsai trees from. But these leaves look too big and it doesn't look quite right based on the pictures when I'm looking online, so I'm confused. And it's certainly not the melon seed ficus. But either way, we're going to put them in some pots. So let's see how that turns out.
About July of last year, I took a whole bunch of cuttings from one of the Minnesota Bonsai Society workshops for our tropical session. Usually in July we have all tropical trees. So it's a good time to repot your tropicals in June and July in Minnesota, and then it has time to recover, get the root structure going before the fall and before we bring it on into our homes for the winter when they're going to rest. We're at the 26th of February, and I'm going to get these out of this pot that I put it in, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to downsize. I'm going to put one tree per pot so I can go ahead and do some more experimenting. I have one little one, I have one bigger one, and I have the square that's even just a little bit bigger. And I'm going to do that so I can control the watering better. I have more control over when I water than this great big pot, so each tree can kind of do their own thing. So these have been trimmed at least once or twice since I brought them in the fall after sitting out in my backyard area from the July workshop. So I put them into some recycled bonsai soil and hoped for some rooting after a little bit of rooting hormone on there, the powder. And so we have some trees that we're ready to take out of here and to put into these littler pots. And again, the reason I'm going to put them into a littler pot is because I want to have control of the watering. And then a smaller pot will allow these roots to be able to find themselves and kind of get grounded. If I have a big pot like this, and these trees, they're going to possibly send roots all the way down and around. I'll get these long, leggy roots. And so as soon as I know that, or I have a feeling that they're ready to go, I go ahead and put them into a smaller pot. And so I also want to show you something real quick. Let me get a close-up of this. When I cut my Thanksgiving cactus, earlier in December, I threw a couple of leaves just into some of my pots around my plant room and misted this a lot, watered this a lot, and I want to show you how just the leaf thrown into the pot will grow some new foliage. So there we go. See the big leaf on the left, and you can see all the growth on the right. So all those leaves, I got four to six leaves. So that's sending some roots down into the soil, I would imagine. We'll take a peek at that. And eventually I'll be able to discard the big leaf here and maybe put this into some more soil. But we're going to look at this in a little bit. We'll take all our other trees out and we'll see what's working with that. Well, let's reveal this guy right here. Take a peek at this. It's not in there far, I know that. All right. Itty bitty looking root structure there, looks like. This is a cutting actually from the jade that I had from a few months ago. This is the close-up, and you can see there's three different branch structures growing. One to the lower left with 3 or 4 foliage pieces on it. One on the right, lower right, and then the bigger one in the middle. So there's not a lot of root structure yet, but as that sits just on a bunch of lava rocks, if I continued to mist this without putting it in any soil, it would continue to grow roots slowly, and the leaves would continue to grow bigger, and I would have a plant eventually. So there's a cutting about 2-3 months later after cutting the jade tree about 2 or 3 months ago. We're going to take these out and see how many roots are on here. Now, I haven't looked at these roots since July, And again, we're at February 26th. Repotting season is just around the corner. We're going to get some trees in here in the coming weeks and do some early repotting. Hopefully my Sadzuki Azalea survived my cold frame woes. But we're going to go ahead and we're going to take these guys out and see how much roots have developed since July of last year. And now this would be a great thing to do in July of 2021 here. Hopefully the roots will slowly establish and we'll be ready for some summer growth. I'm doing this down in the plant room because I can put them in my greenhouse area or by the window to get plenty of light. The average temperatures in the afternoon all through the day is 75 degrees up down here. So I'm just being careful and sticking my chopstick around the edge, pulling away some soil, and we're going to pull these out and see what we got. I have the tray here so I can put all the soil wherever I need to and not make a mess. I don't know which direction and how much there's going to be. I haven't seen this for a long time. We have 6 inches of growth or more in several locations. Trim this a little bit and put it in a smaller pot. That is exciting news. See what else we got here. They all kind of seem like they're touching, which is kind of like that forest feel, right? They're growing and supporting each other. There we go. Tree number 2. Not as long, but almost looking a little more radio in pattern here. So there's tree number 2. Instead of putting your plants in straight up and down, plant them at an angle. And so now this one, look, it's already got some movement. If I put this right here, it's moving up this way, and then maybe it'll kind of curve up this way, or we can bend it this way, right? Or I can maybe put it this way. That has a nice structure of roots on that one. Look at that one. Not too bad. So these were all cuttings, again, from a workshop in July. There we go. Got a real long one on this one, but also some nice short ones. I'm not going to cut a ton of these off. I'm just going to trim them up ever so slightly and get them into a smaller pot to help it continue to form these roots. Another long section here. A little bit, couple up higher. I'm not going to disturb those. I'm just going to lay them over here. And our last one, last but not least, look at that little guy, huh? Or should I say big guy, from way up there on the root structure. We'll clean off these roots a little bit, being super gentle not to break these delicate new roots. We got some breaking down old recycled bonsai soil. So it certainly kept it moist. And look at all that growth there. We're going to work towards radio roots down the road here. But there we have our big pot. All the roots gone. And now we can do some transplanting. I have a couple of different sizes. And I have a few choices with the trees as far as size. I'm going to put that in that small one and see how those roots grow. So we got that one in there. Got this great big long one with the bend, so I'll put that in maybe one of the square bigger pots so I can put it down deeper. We got a nice tree there. And a tall one here. I'll put that in this little bit bigger one here. And we got there and there. So 2, 4, 6, 7 trees out of this. I think I had a few die. I try to plant my trees if I can in groups of 10, and this is so far 70% success. I know I did pull a couple of out earlier in the winter months here, so I know I had some die and not take, but I have 7 that have roots, and we are ready to go. So again, I have recycled soil, so we're just going to go ahead and fill these with some recycled soil and put them on in there, and we're good to go. But we will trim them just ever so slightly to promote radial root pattern, okay? So let's move these aside so you can kind of see what I'm doing. And then we'll just go to town with them all. Let's do the first little guy right here. Okay. So, got some roots there, pretty well spread out around the tree. It's going to be hard to see. But it spreads around my hand pretty good there with a couple of long ones. Let me get rid of this long one. A couple long ones here, and that's it. That's all I'm going to cut. Put that soil on the bottom. Make sure the roots are kind of spread out, going to the right, left, top, and bottom. And just like that, I have a tree. Super cute and tiny, and we'll put that under the grow lights, see what we can do. Now that one I didn't put it at an angle very much, so I'll leave that one like that. I'll test that theory, and I'll put this one more at an angle. So we got tree number 2. Recycled bonsai soil. Let's look at this root structure and cut it right here. That's it. That's all I'm going to cut off. And again, if I spread this out, look at that. I can kind of spread that out and have roots going in about 2/3 of the radial pattern of the trunk of the tree. Now this one I want to put at an angle a little bit because it's got a nice little almost curve here a little bit. So I will put it a little bit at an angle. We're going to raise it up a little bit here. Get the roots spread out. And then fill it up with some soil. Okay. These roots are so fine. I'm not really going to have a lot of air pockets in there, so I'm not too worried about stamping it down. But there, we're not straight up and down. We're off to a little bit of an angle. And there we go, tree number 2. Let's change the camera, the angle of the camera so you can see down in the pot, and I'll show you what I'm working on. Here's tree number 3. Now this one sticks straight. So I probably eventually will have to put a little wire onto this or something, but I go ahead and get my recycled soil in there. And this one does not have a lot of roots, but there is some long stuff here, right here. So let me just get that a little bit trimmed up, just like that. I don't even want to get rid of any more than that. And when you lay it down on my hand, you see how I can be spread around like that? So we're going to put that in the pot. I'm going to try to spread out these roots a little bit. I will go at a slight angle like this. And there's the next tree. And so as I turn it to the camera that way, I'm not perfectly straight up, so I can hopefully have the branches grow this way. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 buds on this one coming. One is on this side, so that's nice. One is down over here. We got tree number 3. Let's do another one from the top angle. Yeah, I got this one with all that movement. We're going to try to put it in like that, right? So it's more at an angle instead of straight up and down. I'm going to get some soil in there. Do I want to cut anything off here? I don't want to cut much off this one. There's a little bit of a length on that part right there. So I'll trim that off ever so slightly. And then we want this one to grow at an angle. So we're going to put this one in kind of shooting like that. I got some roots spread out. Roots growing up higher, so the soil will go a little bit higher in this one, and we'll hope for the best. There we go. Way over to here, so we got that angle. And the roots are going that way to see if they can grow into the pot. And there is the next tree. All right, 4 down, 3 to go. Let's give them a spin on the new spin table. I like that one. That one's curving. See that little movement to the left there? That one back there is the stick straight one, but look, I planted it to the right. This one, you can't see the planting as much. That one either. There we go. Little tiny one here. My last step, of course, is to give them some water. So here we go. I'm already getting some running out through the bottom end. It's going to make a mess. I got my towel here ready to go. Looks like the water is running towards me, so I better get my towel ready. Here we go. There's the towel. Here comes the water. Just want to make sure that these are all here we go. Got the towel, catching the water. There you have it. 7 transplanted trees from the cutting pot that I had them in from July. They all had a really nice chunk of roots on them. I cut them back a little bit, so a little bit of trimming. And now they're all in their littler pots. I can squeeze them in between some other big trees and get some really nice lighting on them. Get them closer to the window perhaps. And we're going to have another batch of trees. There's the forest in individual pots now. Time to put them away.
Not too bad. I always try to plant about 10 cuttings if I can. And that way I can see the success rate. 7 out of 10 there. If I did do 10, 70%, not too bad. So they all had decent root structure. Fairly flared out in a radial pattern in some cases, but we spread those roots out, got some recycled bonsai soil, gave them some water, and they should be good to go here in the plant room. Again, it'd be more ideal to transplant a tree in the middle of summer, but these are cuttings with fresh roots. I've got a really nice controlled plant room, as I always say, so everything has worked out for me so far. I haven't lost many trees doing this, so a last minute fix before the big transplant season comes here in March, where we start to do some trees. I'm hoping to get my Satsuki azalea, if it didn't get damaged from my cold frame issues, repotted in the next couple of weeks. So can't wait for that video. So there you have that. The new cuttings are in their homes. My update for you today is the melon seed ficus that I've done a couple of things over the winter now. Again, ficus trees not working on a ton in the winter time. This one had a long straggly root coming out of the old wood pot back here. And then I had to go ahead and trim it a little bit later. So I trimmed it, and so it looks like it was really chopped up here, which it still looks kind of chopped up. Upon closer inspection, you can see a whole bunch of buds growing on this tree. So I noticed a couple of days back, I was like noticing these little movement of greenness on here, and it was super exciting. And now there's, I can't even count them, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 on this branch alone. 2, 4, 6 on this one, 2, 4, 6. There are over 24, 30, almost 3 dozen buds on here, new leaves that are trying to form into branches. So super exciting that this is now taken off. It's getting more sun in the plant room because of the, or I should say more light because of the window now. We're gaining 2 to 3 minutes of light almost per day here. And it's gonna, the sun won't set till after 6 p.m. here in a couple of days as we start March. So fantastic. So the update today, the melon seed ficus doing really good in the plant room. So no damage done with my work on it this fall and winter. And now we're just gonna let it go until I can bring it outside. We'll put it in the shade for a couple of weeks, and we'll bring it out into some partial sun, and then let it just go crazy for the rest of the year. Can't see where that thing is. Can't wait to see where it ends up at the end of summer. There you have it, another edition of Dave's Bonsai. Thank you so much for tuning in. Hey, put a like down there, maybe make a comment, put a comment, ask me a question, send me some advice, you know, whatever. I like to hear all the comments, read all the great stuff that comes in, and I certainly like to say hi and respond as much as I can. So do that, tell your friends about the channel. Love bringing you the videos and having a blast doing it as always. So hey, take care of you, take care of your bonsai, and we will catch you very soon.